what do you think about AI in project management? Do you think AI is going to, well, I don't know about replace, but to what extent do you think AI will supplement our role as PMs?
I've got two sort of takes on this, and one of them is a bit of a hot take, so I'll be interested to see what you think. But the first one is we're clearly all aboard the hype train at the minute. There's a lot of flatter and deceive going on, I think.
Right.
AI is helpful, useful, can do a lot. Certainly can't do the job of a project manager. But that leads us on to my second point. If as a project manager, what you're doing is the sort of transactional document creation stuff, like you send status reports, you manage a RAID log, you create a couple of decks, you move some tickets around on Jira, AI probably is going to replace you because AI
Right.
can do all of that. You need to sort of broaden your horizons and elevate your thinking around how else can I add value, create an impact, and basically get more done as a project manager over and above what AI now enables you to do.
I agree. I think that, it's a conversation I had with another peer instructor not too long ago. I won't name names, but we were talking about AI and how there's a lot of hype around AI right now. It's kind of a gold rush mentality. And it is amazing the depth of AI, the things that you can do. Like I was just in Las Vegas, and at the Sphere, the big bubble, out off the Strip, they have these robots that are AI generated. They can look at you and talk to you, and you can ask them questions, and they'll respond in real time. It's pretty amazing. But I don't see AI having that human connection that we need. I feel like we need in project management. So much of project management is stakeholder engagement and communication, and certainly reports, emails, things like that. The other thing I think that's really complex, where I'll have to see it to believe it, little doubting Thomas here, is if we have a list of activities we have to get done to get from start to finish, and I can dump that into AI, for it to sequence those, to know the capability of the team, to predict, dates, deadlines, constraints, bottlenecks, get into the whole float or better timelines, then I'll be impressed. I haven't seen that, in action, or at least that really works well. Not that I've spent, weeks studying AI, but because every project's different and every resource is different. You've got other constraints outside of the project. So that's, some of the things that you need, that, that tacit knowledge that only comes by experience or being in the project.
Yeah.
But the transactional, go ahead.
It's really interesting you touch on that human element, because when I talk to people who are getting into project management, when I think about my principles, sort of principle one is build relationships and get people to like you as quickly as you can.
Right.
Because typically as project managers, we're going to ask people to do stuff when they really don't want to do it. We're going to have to pull them when they don't want to be pulled. And I remember working in a call center when we missed sales targets for a few months, and the sort of thinly veiled threat was, if we can't improve the numbers, we'll get an automated dialer just to dial out to customers and see how that does. And I think it's very similar to what you've touched on there. People aren't going to listen to a robot pitch them a sale. And if a robot project manager asks them to work the weekend, they're never going to say yes. You need a relationship there. You need to be able to influence and do a bit of transactional deal making. Can you work this weekend and I can make this happen for you? And I don't see how we're going to get around that without that human element as of right now.
Yeah. And maybe technology will prove us wrong and that comes into being, but I just don't, I think that, reports and spreadsheets, certainly email, great help. But to replace the role of the PM and that real touch that you need, especially as things change so quickly. Are you doing agile on your projects?
Yeah, it's sort of the staple ways of working for us is agile. With it being technology and emerging technology, it's very hard to plan it all out up front.
So then you can imagine AI trying to do, agile and prioritize things and, the backlog. You need to understand the business to prioritize. So There's a lot of gaps there that I see. I just haven't bought into the hype yet. Maybe that's...
And like you touched on, almost a little bit like a change management feel. I've got no doubt that AI could change the tasks, resequence the events, crunch the numbers week in, week out. But managing the expectations within the team and getting them to buy into that plan, I don't see how an AI is going to bridge that gap. I think we're safe for the minute, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think there's just so much that we have to be immersed in a project. You have to know everything, and certainly AI can categorize that knowledge, but if it can do it or not. I wasn't intending to talk about AI today, but it's such a fascinating topic, and I think we're seeing that in all areas. I just saw some videos today of like different movie stars hanging out. That would be impossible. Just, some have passed and some, are still alive, how they're like hanging out, talking or having a cup of coffee or whatever. And at first I was like, oh, no way, I didn't know these two. And then you realize this is totally fake. It's totally AI generated. So it's getting better and better, but it still doesn't have that human connection. Better and better, or scarier and scarier, depending on how you look at it.
I think the nice thing is, even though, as you say, it's getting better and it's improving, I still think most people are able to detect that uncanny valley fairly quickly. I don't think it's quite at the level where I can't tell the difference anymore, which is a bit of a relief in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. You always look at the fingers, right? They always look weird. Yeah. Or some of the text will be backwards, like the guy had a badge on and it was all like the text was all garbled. Like,
I'll tell you one thing I like about the AI images. They're incredibly flattering. So if you want to play around and get a nice boost to the ego, get some AI generated images done.